Listen, if I give home, I have 22 animals on my farm in Nashville. I've got 22 in my house in Calabasas. Like, I'm doing what I need to do for the animals. Like, okay. But when it comes to my brain, you're not vegan.
No.
You can't be vegan and living this kind of, and being this quick. But sure you can. Some people can. I cannot, because it was really giving, I was having a lot of...
What did it do for your brain?
I feel that I'm much...
Slowed you down?
Now I'm so much sharper than I was. And I think that I was, at one point, pretty malnutrition.
I don't make these observations to be different. I do not say this in order to be a contrarian. I am not trying to distinguish myself from the morass of public opinion on these issues. I really sincerely see these issues in a very different way. I see this issue in a very different way from my contemporary and former YouTube collaborator, Vegan Gains. When I look at Miley Cyrus, when I hear her narrative of why she was vegan, what veganism means to her, and why she and veganism have now parted ways, I think of a 17-year-old kid with a machine gun who's been in the news a great deal lately, a guy named Kyle Rittenhouse. I would bet money that Kyle Rittenhouse grew up reading Batman comics. And this kid, who's ended up shooting several people, I believe at least 2 of them are dead, he's on camera proudly saying in the middle of this riot that he's there with a machine gun, but that he also had a medical relief kit, to provide care to the injured. And he's on camera going and trying to help people with this medical relief kit. And he's on camera taking a fire extinguisher and trying to put out a fire. And, He was there to be a hero. And that was what Miley Cyrus wanted to be. She wanted to rescue trapped and injured animals. She wanted to be able to boast to the world that she has 22 rescued animals in her apartment, that when she was a child, she rescued these chickens that were going to be devoured by a snake, right? What she wanted was heroism, was to be remarkable, to be exceptional. And her notion of heroism probably is something she acquired in childhood, probably just like Kyle Rittenhouse. She probably took it from storybooks, from cartoons, from comic books, from movies, without really questioning the tremendous gap between that notion being presented as commercial, for-profit, mass entertainment, and the real world.
If we're on Hollywood and there's the Best Dad Award, I scratch out best and put worst. But he was also the best because he would allow me to do a lot of other crazy things that were awesome.
Well, you're fine.
I'm fine.
Look,
my dad let me
injured.
steal chickens from the Malibu barn, that little red barn when you come down Topanga. My dad, they were going to feed these chickens to the snakes, and they let us back there, and my dad was like, listen, I'm Billy Ray Cyrus. I'm going to totally distract them. You shove as many chickens into the back of the Corvette as you can while I'm signing autographs, and we're going to get the hell out of here. So I did. I went, me and my brother got all these damn chickens, and we shoved them in the back of his car, and he was going to...
Snakes went hungry, though.
He was about to go work for David Lynch. He was going to audition for him for Mulholland Drive, and my dad brought the chickens in the Corvette, and he said, if you're going to have chickens in the Corvette, like, you're playing the pool guy. That's a pool guy thing to do. So my dad got the job, so because he got the job, he had to stay in LA, and we had to go back to Tennessee. So he told me and my mom to tell the people on the airplane that they were exotic Himalayan cockatoos, and we did, and they let them on the plane, and we had them in the purse, and they lived in a bathtub in on Hollywood and Highland in some hotel for a long time. And then we got home, and the night we got there, our dogs got in the chicken coop, made them all, so they died anyway.
Romance and marriage in the real world look nothing like the story of Cinderella. It's nothing like a fable. It's nothing like a cartoon. And there were many reasons for that, including, I'm a writer myself. If I were writing a story for children, I might have the most pious of motives. I'm not going to realistically depict what a marriage is like. I'm not going to realistically depict what romance is. I'm not going to realistically depict for an audience of children what you have to think through and the decisions you have to make before choosing a girlfriend or boyfriend and before choosing to get married to that person, right? So, even without the presumably evil motives of trying to sell as many toys in as many Happy Meal products as possible, right? The commercial motives that warp the production of Batman movies, as well as Disney movies, as well as all this. Without even getting to that, we have to admit, if you're producing something for children, there are going to be many ways in which the picture of the world you present is warped. And it's going to give children a warped sense of romantic love, of marriage, and it's going to give children a warped sense of heroism. All right? And morality is actually not about heroism. Morality is not about doing something extraordinary. It's precisely about honing your own character, engaging in a sort of self-discipline such that these extraordinary things become ordinary. And indeed, the most extraordinary things about you are completely invisible to everyone else around you. Veganism is a perfect example of that. I would say also the discipline of the mind that goes into being an intellectual. I would say also even the strange sort of discipline that goes into charity work, into being a charitable person and really helping people. Doesn't make you extraordinary, doesn't make you astounding. It makes you, you move invisibly in this society, carrying with you those habits of mind, carrying with you those qualities of the heart, even if you want to put it that way, right? The things that really do make you a good person in this world, right? They don't make you exceptional. They only let you move invisibly about. Sobriety, the commitment, and living with that commitment, the commitment to never do drugs, to never do alcohol, to never gamble. Man to man here, I mean, this is different for men than it is to women. To never rape a woman, to never even grope a woman. I remember one of my teenage friends. I could say she was a girlfriend, but there was this girl I knew as a teenager, and I remember her describing to me that when she went to concerts, all of these men would grope her. She really talked about this. Now, I was never into going to live music concerts, and my response, like I'd grown up reading Batman, is like, why doesn't someone beat the crap out of these men? Immediately thought, for a man to really grab a woman's like breasts and vagina and ass and this is normal. I mean, in Ontario, in that period of time, let me tell you, that was the way she herself was describing that she kind of got used to it, and she'd go to she'd get groped by strangers. It was completely mind blowing to me. I mean, there's nothing extraordinary about you. There's nothing heroic. There's nothing that makes you visibly different from other men in the society if you live with the self-discipline, with the quality of character that you would never. It may be only fractionally as bad as outright rape, but I think it is, in principle, the same kind of transgression. Morality doesn't make you a hero, right? What makes you a hero? Arbitrary circumstances that are beyond your control. And that's what makes heroism so meaningless. If you happen to be standing by a river when someone falls off a bridge, you have the opportunity to swim out and save someone. It's the most ridiculous and the most meaningless thing. And if you weren't there, or if your hands were busy doing something else, or if you were wearing a cast on your leg because you had a broken ankle, maybe you'd have to stand there and watch that person drown and you couldn't rescue them because the circumstances just weren't right. When you really understand what heroism is, you realize it's something you shouldn't even desire. You shouldn't want to be there. You shouldn't want to go there. It shouldn't be something you aspire to. You should recognize the arbitrariness of it because it's just the result of circumstances beyond your control. And every day, a million acts of heroism of that kind go unnoticed and unrewarded. You can choose to try to be a hero, like Miley Cyrus, right? Miley Cyrus with her 22 rescued animals and saving the chickens and the snake, and this whole ego trip she's on, where she thinks she's not just a good person, she thinks she's a great person. She thinks you ought to admire. She thinks she ought to be able to boast about this, right? But she doesn't have the self-discipline to stop herself from eating this piece of cheese pizza. She is obviously trying to make herself look like a beauty icon here while publicly eating a piece of cheese pizza. And we're supposed to believe that this cheese pizza is being eaten for the sake of her physical and mental health. These ridiculous excuses that are made. That's another aspect of human nature. As ridiculous and remarkable as it may seem, these people, in wanting to be something extraordinary, in wanting to have a kind of heroic morality, whether we're talking about Miley Cyrus or Kyle Rittenhouse, these are the people who cultivated a heroic notion of morality. They wanted to be something and someone extraordinary. And for that selfsame reason, they never developed ordinary morality. The very ordinariness, the very banality of what morality is in principle and practice is what makes it so hard to talk about, so hard to package into a product, so hard to make a hit Disney movie about. The ordinariness, the boringness, the unremarkableness of morality is precisely why nobody wants to pay to hear a morality lecture in movie theaters. Morality lectures don't sell comic books, they don't sell Happy Meals, they don't sell figurines, they don't sell rock albums in the same way that practical advice about how to find a husband or wife is never going to sell the next hit movie like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We all grow up being presented with legends. And I see people like Kyle Rittenhouse and Miley Cyrus as being, in some ways, a victim of a kind of legendary morality that not only misled them, led them away from real morality, but made them unfamiliar with the cultivation of what real morality really means in principle and in practice.
I mean, really, people like to disrespect my crew, but the fact is that you know my name and I don't know you.